welcome to the Great Debate Community after show for the non sequitur shows Unsolicited, Jehovah Witnesses with TellTale, Atheist, and Lloyd Evans. And it looks like we already have somebody in the live chat. So before I go to the Discord server, I wanted to thank you for the opportunity to co-host with Kyle. He's always a pleasure to co-host with Kyle. So without further ado, there's 5 people watching, and I will go over to the Discord server. Get over to the Discord. You there, David? I can't hear you. Hold on. There's something up with the Discord. Let me see if I can fix this. How about now, David?
I can hear you.
There we go.
All right. Now we're cooking with gas. It's a Dave-only room.
Yeah. So there we are.
Were you able to get an invite to TellTale and Lloyd?
I tried, but I think they all had stuff to go do.
Oh, okay. I do believe Kyle will be popping back soon.
Yeah, he might be able to get them back, but they were all like in a hurry to get out of there, so these things happen.
Indeed, indeed. Yep, the old JWs are an interesting lot.
It doesn't look like Discord. It looks like Discord to me. Of course, I'm the one streaming it, so.
I think they just mean what it looks like in YouTube.
Oh, well. YouTube looks like whatever I want it to.
Yeah. And it's on the dark theme. I don't know why you would ever use the light theme.
Well, YouTube is also on the Great Debate Community background, so.
That's true.
It's 'cause
we should update that graphic.
It's on that channel. It's not like I'm streaming on Non Sequitur's channel for this. So.
That's true.
So, what'd you think? Like I said in the stream, I knew some Jehovah's Witnesses when I was growing up, and I didn't really know what it meant back then. You know, when you're little, your parents tell you.
They're pretty crazy. I mean, like most of my family were Jehovah's Witnesses, so I grew up around that environment, so I'm familiar. I will say that they didn't say anything incorrect. If anything, there was a lot of things that weren't said. There's other crazy parts of that belief structure that would take a while to deconstruct.
It's such a shame because you get enough people into a cult like that, and it becomes a real problem for those people. I mean, just anybody. It's not even just small people like that. It's any group of people. It becomes a cult. Like if you 1 or 2 people, it's just they're a little bit diluted. But if you get into a cult, they start having a real sway over people. People start taking them seriously, and you see it taking place with more and more ideas because of the internet.
Yeah, and it's I mean, when they were saying like Scientologists are more harmful and whatnot, I mean it's true in one sense. Like if you try to leave that, they'll kind of go further with certain things, but it's not like the Jehovah's Witnesses aren't causing harm. Like their stance on blood transfusions, where they refuse blood transfusions. Let's say you're a parent, you have a kid, and they get in like a car accident or something, and they're in the hospital, and they're going to need a blood transfusion, very likely in order to survive. The church will send elders to stay in the hospital and provide support to the parents in the form of convincing them not to be swayed by doctors to provide a blood transfusion, even if it will save the person's life.
That's terrible. It really is.
Yeah. Welcome to the after show. You should be able to unmute yourself.
If you can't, let me get something. Hold on. I gotta figure this out because I put something in place that kind of messed it up. Come back! Don't leave! Oh Lord. Where'd he go?
I do not know. What was the name?
I'm trying to do it to Drake here. Profiles. Let's just put Drake because I think it's just Drake. Because we've got this thing that I tried to use to automatically assign the role if they.
Yeah, it's auto unselecting the role right now.
Right, I can't add it because they don't have the rewards. So there's this bot called Godinator that a friend of mine wrote, and it's supposed to add if they send enough messages. So if you add 50 into, I think it's choir members. So it's not. Okay, that's not how that works. So we need to user scoreboard. So it's Drake. Scoreboard is choir members. Was it underscore? This is for fun. It's fun. What's up, sexy people? We're fine. Add 10.
Why is there a question mark after sexy people?
Yeah, like
what's up? Period. Sexy people. Period. Yeah.
So he's got score, so this should work if I put Drake in there.
I don't know where the blood transfusions thing actually comes from. There is a like Lloyd would know this right off the top of his head. There is a scripture that they base it on, but it's a pretty loose interpretation, I would think. Yeah, and they don't give blood either. So technically, like putting your own blood into a blood bank for later is also a violation. So that doesn't really work either, as far as I know.
Really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I haven't been at all connected to the church for probably just over a decade, so a lot of it's just gone, thank goodness. But
so now we should be able to see. Where did it go? Where was that? This is so confusing. So now Drake should actually have choir members automatically. Okay, now I know how to do it. Okay. Can you see you're a minister, right? So can you see the under the clergy there's a room called the closet?
Oh yeah, I'm in the closet apparently.
Okay. Yeah. So you see where I added roles to Drake?
Yes.
So those are point based things. They get them for activities, but you can add. That's how you give people, like when we're doing this, you just set it to 50, and they'll be able to. I haven't set a decay, so they'll keep it. But once if they stay on, they'll get it, and it's set to 25, which I think is a little high. But I was gonna set it to 5. So if they send 5 messages, they'll get choir. They'll be able to talk after 5 text messages. So they can't just come in and start talking. But if they start
They
chatting
couldn't
up,
come in and start talking before. We had to give it to them.
right? But now it'll just kind of be automatic. If they just start chatting, they'll get it as long as they
Oh,
prove they're a real person, basically. Because that's what
okay.
we did anyway. But we could take it away because they have bad equipment, basically. That's what the point of it is in the first place. So
Yeah. Okay. We should. What you should do is sticky the codes for doing all this stuff at the top of the closet or something.
yeah, I'm gonna pin that one. Let's see here. So copy an example of how to set a user up to talk. Alright, because bear with us, folks. And we'll pin that, go away.
Yeah, I think it is Leviticus that they base that on to answer that to the stream. That's probably not incorrect. Sounds familiar enough to me that I think you're right.
Don't imbibe blood. Okay, well, I don't know how transfusing your own blood back into you is imbibing, but
Yeah, that's why I say it's really loose. It's not very. It's not watertight logic. Let's just say that. But I mean, they have all manner of restrictions. They have a very specific dress code. No piercings, no tattoos, no long hair. Um, you're not supposed to buy things at like flea markets or yard sales because
that I
the
tried
items
to get that
might
one
be
in there.
demanded.
I tried to get that question in too, David, but I couldn't.
Yeah, yeah, no worries. Yeah, no, they will specifically discourage people because you might buy something that's possessed essentially, and have to deal with demons and ghosts. Um, as far as Lloyd's experience with mental health, I mean, mine differed in the sense that I've seen people that were dealing with mental health issues, and they were told that they were demonized or possessed, and that therapists were part of the world, so you shouldn't see them. You should just talk to the church, and yeah. So I mean, they have quite a few harmful teachings that aren't as openly doctrinally taught, but are more or less accepted within many of the churches. So yeah. Yeah, scary demon dolls. Yeah, I've literally known Jehovah's Witnesses who were afraid because they bought a doll or something and thought that it was actually demonic in some way. Like, not even a joke. Um, but yeah, and hypnosis and things like that is opens a gateway in your mind to let demons in. So does watching the wrong movies. Like they're not allowed to watch Harry Potter or anything like that. If it's got magic or it's got stuff like that in it, you can't own it or watch it. It's a pathway for demons to latch onto. Like, God forbid you have a copy of The Exorcist on DVD, you're in trouble.
I'm gonna delete it. I'm actually gonna delete the scoreboard for choir members because we should be able to just let people talk.
Yeah.
Because this is too much just to keep adding everybody. So people, you need to come in and talk with us because me and David talking is just kind of boring. Come on, come into Discord.
All are welcome.
No Harry Potter, a disgrace. Well, I'm sorry, we couldn't talk about. Maybe we'll talk about the science of Harry Potter with Scientist Mel sometime. That would be fun. I think Scientist Mel is great, but yeah, that's just me. Dwight Engine, you should have choir members. You should be able to come in. Let's see if TellTale can come in here. Because if he does, that would be fantastic. I don't know if he's going to or not. I know he has his, I know he has his own server, and now that he's a creator, he's a choir member. I know his equipment works. Oh, for crying out loud! It won't let me give him the role.
I gave him the role. Worked fine.
Well, that's ridiculous.
We'll get things on the go here shortly enough. I'm sure people will start to pop in.
Yeah.
Back, he said.
No, we don't have tech support issues.
We're just setting up some new Discord things.
Yeah. We could still get people to talk if they'd show up.
We got a bad bot. Bad bot. And there's Gracie. There you go. You should be able to unmute. get this live stream bumping yet. Gotta get some more folks popping in. I think everything's working now, so people should be able to join pretty easy.
Gracie, you should say something.
Yeah, it's just the... I think they changed it so you have to have push to talk now.
No,
No, you're good.
you're talking.
Yeah, I just had to turn it on to get in here.
No, that's just a default message that pops up. You're good without it. Hey, Wardy.
Sup?
Welcome to the after show chat. Hey, Red Eye.
Yo.
Just getting the old live stream running. Going now.
Yeah, it's up and running. I'm logged into
Yep.
it.
Perfect, perfect. Did you tune into the show?
Nope, I just woke up.
Well, good morning, Red Eye. From down under.
What's good about it? I'm kidding. I did do a little bit more homework on that guitar too. It's the rosewood version of the Seagull.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
Yeah, and I had a look at the retail price of them in Australia and nearly fell off my freaking chair.
How much are they typically?
1900.
Yep, that's about right. That's
Well,
about
this
right.
guy's flogging his off for 550, so I'm waiting for money to clear into my account and hopefully beat someone to the punch because it comes with an SKB flight case as well.
It's a beautiful guitar. If anybody in the chat plays guitar, Seagull guitars, they're lovely.
Well, this one's got solid rosewood back and sides and a spruce top, so it should be a nice guitar.
We just got done talking about Jehovah's Witnesses with Lloyd Evans and TellTale.
I've had very, very negative experiences with Jehovah's Witnesses, except
tell
for
us
one of
about-
them. Well, I have, I won't drop her name, but she's a lovely young lady. Her family comes to visit. They're fine. It's when she goes overseas to do work and, like, she travels all over the world to really dangerous places just to sort of help people. She's actually one of the few Jehovah's Witnesses I don't have a problem with. Her replacements that come out to talk to me when she's overseas are cretinous sods that I ended up yelling at, and Landon was actually in a hangout with me, and I sort of, he heard the whole thing go down. He thought it was quite funny, but they're disingenuous. They lie through their teeth, and yeah, I just, when they knock on my door now, that I quite bluntly tell them to fuck off.
It's one way to handle it for sure.
Well, when they come to your door and they start lying through their teeth and saying that they've got all the answers. Well, have you seen their website?
Oh yeah, you're talking about jw.org.
Yeah, that motherfucker is a pretty extensive website. So they're pulling out their smartphones.
You're supposed to go to. They're pretty much told not to use the internet, other than for that.
Well, they're pulling out all their smartphones and trying to say that, you know, historically the Bible's accurate and prophecy. And this guy said, "Oh, listen, my family's from Iraq and this area," and he's trying to make out like he's some sort of authority figure because his family's from the area originally. It's like, that's when I got really angry with them and I just told them to fuck off.
So I can prove that the Bible is historically accurate because my family was born in a place that the Bible mentions.
Yes, that was the nature of it when I got really pissy, and I just went, "That's such a I lost my shit and told them to go away."
That's a pretty terrible argument, so no wonder. How
Not
about
my
you?
favourite organisation.
Do you have any run-ins with witnesses?
I actually have no experience with any.
Oh, okay. What about you, Wardy?
Question?
Have you ever had any experience with Jehovah's Witnesses?
I used to live on a street, and at the end of the street there was a Joho hall, and about once every 3 months they'd pop in and try and convert me.
How'd that go?
It was quite interesting questioning their beliefs. Yeah.
So did they allow you to question things? Because a lot of them will sort of stick to a sort of a script to say, well, we're here to study this sort of. If you start questioning, they're like, here, take a watchtower, and sort of run away.
Yeah, you get a few that will just sort of throw a leaflet in your face and be like, yeah, take it or leave it. And I'll be like, okay, fine. And it'll go straight in the bin. And I'll do that in front of them. You know, like the big bins that you have outside your house. I'll be like right by the door, and I'll be like, thank you very much. Put it straight in the bin.
I totally did that about several months back, and I started walking towards the bin. I've lifted the lid, and the lady's gone, "Oh, if you're going to throw it away, we'll just take it back." And I handed the freaking thing back to her, and I went, "Yeah, best you don't drop any more of these off here, because that's where they're going to end up." I pointed at the bin and smiled.
Yeah, one tried that with me, and I went, no, I'd rather not give it back to you so you can pester somebody else with it.
We ripped it in half first.
Well, here's the thing that they do out here. They've got certain tactics, and they'll read people, and they know human nature enough to know that, for instance, what they did was bring out a kid with some intellectual disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't be rude to this little kid, and I couldn't be rude to Bindi, the lady, and it happens that Bindi's nephew was this little kid. And that's why I ended up getting to know Bindi. It's just like, how do you tell these people to F off when there's like this 12-year-old kid that's, you know, he's not a threat, and you can't be rude. You just can't. I couldn't bring myself to be rude to them. It's like they bought a shield, the cheeky buggers.
Well, they do that quite regularly. When I was like I was saying before you popped in, my family were Jehovah's Witnesses when I was young. So I remember when I was like 5 and 6, going to the doors with them, and that's exactly why they would say that in their Bible training camp thing. Essentially, they do weekly meetings and like give people, here's what we're going to talk about, and here's the material, and study up on the objections and all that. But they'll specifically bring kids because they know that people will be more receptive and whatnot if there's kids knocking on the door. They'll get the kids to knock on the door and start the conversation.
Yeah.
See, I don't tend to be rude to them, but I tend to sort of challenge their beliefs, like politely. I'm like, well, okay, here's the thing that you believe in. Why do you believe that? And when you ask them stuff like that, they quite often say, oh, well, we have faith that God will provide. And it's like, okay, how do you know God is real? And what will he actually provide you? Has God ever provided you anything?
Oh, but of course God's provided them with everything as far as they're concerned. Anything that's good anyway. Anything that's bad was just the devil getting up to mischief.
Exactly. So you just keep asking them questions. You know, every time they give you an answer, you just say, well, okay, fine. God has provided you everything. Have you got any proof of that? Like, show me something specific that God provided you. and you just keep going and going and going, and eventually they're like, actually, now they then start questioning their own beliefs, basically, and at that point they'll leave.
Yeah, look, years ago I had, this is before Bindi and her mob, they were knocking on my door constantly, and I was talking to them. We were walking in my backyard, and they brought the head dude of the church has come out, and they're doing their final sales pitch, and we're walking down the backyard. There's one either side of me, and the old guy's put his hand on my shoulder. He says, "So, do you want to live forever?" And I looked him straight in the eye, and I went, "Fuck no." And the look of shock on this guy's face was just priceless. And he said, "Why?" And I said, "I read a really interesting comic and and it portrayed a being with an incredibly long lifespan, and this being ended up being quite sick and crazed just because it had tried everything at least once, and then it went to try everything that it shouldn't do. And long story short, it ended up quite insane and mad and doing incredibly sick shit to itself just because it couldn't die." And I said, "I don't want to end up like this character in this comic that lived forever." I said, "Insanity is the only fucking thing that will come from, living forever. So no thanks, I'll pass." And they just couldn't wrap their head around it, and they freaked the fuck out, and they left me alone for about 5 years. It was hilarious. And then Bindi and her family started knocking in the area. They were the new converts, so they had another shot at me. They failed.
That's brilliant. That's gold.
But telling them that I didn't want to live forever genuinely frightened the old guy. He thought I was of the devil at that point, I'm pretty sure. Like, he took a step back. He just went, "You don't want to live forever in the kingdom of God?" And I went, "No."
Yeah, they don't. They do not like that.
Yes, Fino's spot on. Forever is too fucking long. We get bored when we sit for 3 hours at a doctor's office. Imagine eternity, just existing for eternity with this consciousness that we have now, this limited fucking pissy consciousness, and the way. I couldn't bear it. Living forever? No. Doesn't interest me in the slightest.
Hey, Bull, it seems like TellTale's still not having the choir member role stick.
I gotta kick Godbot. This isn't working.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you should be able to add it to him.
Oh, let's try. Yeah.
I'm
Banish
noticing my
God and everything will get better. Let's test that out. Look at that.
I'm reading the chat.
Running smoothly.
It seems that there are a few other people that don't want to live forever.
And he's a deacon too, because he's a prior member, or he's a choir. He was just a guest. And I guess that makes me a creator.
Like everybody who's previously had choir now no longer does.
Oh,
yeah, because I used to have it.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That is not what it was supposed to happen, by the way.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna go through and choir up everybody that I know that had it before.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I'm a minister level for some reason. Don't know how that happened.
Well, because I said, Kyle, we need Red Eye in here.
You got an advocate. I don't know why.
Insanity.
Insanity. I know Surus has good. Surus has good. And Surus was on the show, wasn't he? Yeah, he was just on it. No, that was Godless Engineer. Okay.
So on the topic of like eternal life, mathematically speaking, if your life or if anything is eternal, any single point during that life is meaningless. So an eternal life is a meaningless life.
Meaning is, though. I don't know that it's necessarily true.
Yeah. Now, just imagine if we, all right, we'll give the Christians a few things here. It's like, all right, I'm going to give them several things. God's real, eternal life's legit, blah, blah, blah. All right. I wouldn't want to be around so I could perceive the Earth being destroyed when our sun goes supernova. I'd be horribly fucking saddened by watching that go down. Everything on this planet being turned to ash, that'd just make me incredibly fucking sad.
Yeah, but God wouldn't let that happen, Red Eye. He's just going to reset the sun.
Yeah, so silly me. He'll surround it with a Dyson sphere or something cool, and everything will be hunky dory.
Yeah.
It's just the thought of existing forever. It really doesn't appeal to me. Like, all right, extending my current life to 1,000 years, I'd probably be all right, but I'd also want to upgrade my body so I could, for instance, be a bit of a soul and go into space and feel the solar winds and all of that sort of cool shit. That this body's too fucking limited to even live 1,000 years. But I reckon about 1,000 years would be a pretty good lifespan. You'd want health and all that, obviously. But
you sign up in like 500-year chunks, and then you reassess near the end. It's like, you know what? It's like a lease.
yeah,
Well,
like
and
just
you never get
imagine.
cancer.
No, hold on. Here's an idea. Imagine if we learnt through science to slow down our aging process, so we give ourselves approximately, we'll lengthen our lifespans by a factor of 10. So we get 1,000 years. I think that the human beings would be fucking in a pretty sweet spot. Then we get a lot accomplished during our lifetimes. Like that body of scientific work, for instance. Imagine scientists that could work for 10 times longer on their ideas. Imagine if Tesla was still around working on some of his crazy shit, and he could control his visions so he didn't
Or
lose his shit.
Einstein. Or Einstein.
Any of the big thinkers, all of them.
Yeah.
Imagine if they could have worked for 1,000 years. Some of the ideas, like, let's face it, Tesla was, how old was he when he came up with the AC motor? He was only in his 20s when he cracked that nut. And without Tesla's invention of that AC motor, today's power distribution systems would have big generators every couple of miles. But I actually watched a Tesla doco last night, so very interesting man, very sad life. Fucking got gypped with his patents and all sorts of shit. And after he died, they eventually said, yes, you did actually create radio.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until after he died they went, right, the other guy that said he did, he actually used all of your patents to do it, so you get awarded that one. So Tesla invented radio. There you go.
He sent the first transatlantic radio signal from Newfoundland.
Yeah, so that's on Netflix if anyone's interested in Tesla. He invented a bunch of shit, but then later on he started to get some pretty crazy ideas and thought he was talking to them. He could hear the Martians and shit, and that's why a lot of people went, you can't have my money.
Yeah. Well, there's a very fine line between genius and insanity.
Yeah, I crossed it many, many moons ago.
Aren't we all a little bit insane, though?
Yeah, I don't have any of the genius and visions of that. Like Tesla was a strange critter. He actually was plagued by visions, and we're not talking holy visions. He'd think of machines, and he had to learn to control his visions, and then that's when he started to really come into his own. And when he went to America, he worked for, oh shit, who was it? Was it Edison?
Yeah.
Who was it? Yeah, the inventor of DC. He went to work for that guy and then said, listen, I know I can make AC. And Edison went, yeah, nah, mate, bugger off. And that shattered Tesla, and he stayed there for a few more months and then floated off and eventually got the backing to do his AC motors and got ripped off with the patents.
He wanted to charge the atmosphere for wireless electricity, but that would have probably been a bad idea, really.
Yeah,
it sounds like a good idea, except that everything metal would be electrified.
Yeah, well, he came up with fluorescent tubes. He called it cold light. I found that whole thing interesting, and he said what he wanted to do is he built that transmission tower out in his property, but it never came to anything. And then the Waldorf Astoria Hotel ended up owning the property, and they dynamited his tower and dropped it.
Well, here's the thing about wireless electricity. The higher the frequency, the more you get skin effect, quote unquote skin effect is what they call it. And this is a principle of AC and what happens with it. And this is what happens with the Tesla show. That's how come these guys can get out there with their crazy Tesla suits on and do these shows in the middle of a lightning storm, basically.
Tesla did that without a suit on. At the end of one of his things showing off cold light, he's fucking stuck his hand in the Tesla coil. And what the scientist said, that would have hurt like shit. That would have hurt like a motherfucker. But Tesla's conducted the thing down his skin onto the ground. And they said, that would have really hurt. But apparently Tesla stood there with a smile on his face going, look, and zapping himself with his fucking contraption. Nope. And everyone's going, oh my God, that's amazing.
It doesn't hurt, though, because as long as it would burn your fingertips if you didn't have metal on your fingertips to antenna that shit away from you, basically. But it travels over your skin. It doesn't go in you because it's high frequency.
Yep.
Yep.
So, but like low, that's what the danger was with DC. Like if you've ever noticed with AC, you felt the tingle with AC at all, you tend to let go. It tends to make you let go of it. DC, it would literally lock your muscles in because it's a current. It freezes you. AC doesn't do that.
Yeah, your muscle contracts on it, bang, and it so if you were grabbing a wire that was leeching power and it was DC, your hand just grabs onto it and will not let go. And my dad's actually been working on our old. We had a slaughter yard, so it had some big motors and they were DC, and the electricians fucking ended up something's gone wrong and people misunderstood when to turn the power back on, and they've turned it back on and the electrician's hands grabbed the wire, and luckily someone was standing right next to him with a broom and they fucking hit his hand as hard as they could with the broom to knock it off the wire and saved him. It's like, yeah, I learned not to fuck with electricity when I was very young because I lived on a farm. It's just like, don't mess with it. Frightening stuff. But yeah, Tesla's... My mate's built a Tesla coil. Fuck, it's scary. The sound that comes out of it too, it's just primal. I don't know, but electricity just sounds really frightening when it's at high levels like that. When it arcs out, man, it sounds brilliant.
They use electricity to play music with them nowadays. Like,
yeah, that's some of my favorite stuff.
The Mario theme. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I've heard in the Hall of the Mountain King play with Tesla coils. It's really good.
He's definitely an amazing man that did a lot of, well, like I said, AC. That's all over the planet. He is responsible for our modern economy. Basically, one could argue, I suppose, from a point of view that without his AC, things might be a lot different.
Oh, just transmitting electricity without AC would be a disaster.
Yeah, every mile or two you'd need a DC power generator to keep the thing going. This doco was really good. It gave really simple explanations on what DC was, and it. Think of a square circuit and it just flows around one way. That's DC, but the AC back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and that solved a lot of problems apparently for the distance of transmission.
Well, yeah, because the only way to step down DC is over resistance.
Yeah, that creates issues, for sure.
Yeah, which is loss, basically. So if you have high voltage, the only way to get it to go anywhere is to have this high voltage. So you've got this high voltage DC, and the only way to step it down is to lose the energy over resistance. So you'd have to have these resistors at your endpoints to step it down to the same level, and then you're just bleeding energy out as heat, basically. And it's not good. Whereas with AC, you can split that off to multiple locations. Like you can have a 2-to-1 transformer, and both sides of that transformer can go to two different places, one house to another house. like 2 different houses, basically. And then you could split that even further, and one side could be 110, and the other side could be 110, and the other one could be 220, for example. So that's what they did. They solved lots of problems with AC, and then of course they stole it from him to do that, because thank you, Edison.
He's definitely a cool dude, but he's definitely a twisted individual too, because the thing about the pigeon was just like, okay, you loved a pigeon and it loved you, and you loved it just like a man loved a woman. Wow, that's kind of frightening, but okay, whatever.
It's weird.
Well, and also Tesla's death ray.
Don't know if there was one, but yeah.
He didn't make it, but the design would have worked.
Yeah, he also thought he was getting signals from Martians, and he had just one day he got some random readings on some of the stuff he used in an experiment, and he just assumed that must have been Martian. So he definitely wasn't too big on the logical thinking. Once he got an idea in his head, and it would just run away. It'd run away with him. And sadly, some of his ideas weren't too grounded in reality. And I think the wireless power transmission idea, where he was just going to give everyone free energy, probably wasn't going to work according to modern science.
Well, just the amount of energy required at the power station versus the energy received would have been prohibitive.
It was definitely a good doco, and sorry about sidetracking everybody. We were talking about Jehovah's Witnesses and how much fun they are when they knock on your door. And I was thinking, how about we start up a door knocking up? I've got an idea. I've got a good idea. Door knocking service. We educate Jehovah's Witnesses on the different flavors of heavy metal music that's out there.
There you go. There you go.
There would be a fun thing. You'd have to get a list of where all of them are at. Although they keep that at the halls.
Or we could get Shannon Q and the other godless bitches to go out there and actually do what Shannon Q is complaining about.
Which is what?
Well, Shannon Q is like complaining because Dean Esme was like, atheists are indoctrinating our kids. You know, Dean Esme being Dean Esme is a jerk because he's basically accusing atheists of doing everything that, you know, Christians tend to do, which is indoctrination is one of those things.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally counted the churches on the way to that show over on Godless Engineers channel, and there was like 50 churches driving across St. Petersburg, and that's just when I got tired of counting. That wasn't all of them. That was just I got tired of counting at 50. I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. So, you know, she's like, and we don't have places of worship. We don't have crosses everywhere. We don't have the symbology out throughout our entire society. You don't see atheists going door to door saying, hey, can we talk to you about not believing in God? We don't go through the schools saying, hey, do you want to stay after class to talk about God? Or do you want to come in early tomorrow to talk about God in school? You don't see any of that from atheists. That's what you see from people who believe in God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we could do door-to-door atheism.
No, you don't see door-to-door atheism.
No, but you could do it.
You could do it.
Yes.
I mean, it'd be a really easy process. It's like, hey,
No.
atheism, what do I have to do? Nothing.
Fellas, you're doing it wrong. Fuck going door to door. Go to where they're all at in a big bunch. Kingdom Hall door knocking, right? First week, we're going to introduce them to Deicide and Glenn Benton's lovely vocals that sort of sound like this. It's going to be fucking great.
So you just mean show up with like a boombox kind of thing, and Because I mean,
No, the band, a live band, Mesa Boogie triple rectifiers, 150-watt stack amps.
We should get some Rammstein going too.
So you're saying we shouldn't
That can be
start
week
with
3.
That would be
So
du hast mich.
So you're saying that we shouldn't start with Marilyn Manson's Hollywood?
That'll be
album?
week 5. That's week 5.
Week 1, Deicide. Week 2, Morbid Angel. That's the only way to go. We're going to drop them in the deep end with Where the Slime Lives on week 2. And they're not going to know what hit them.
just have people show up with guitars and a little generator and post up in front of the Kingdom Hall, just like on the sidewalk, and just
what AC/DC did, just put them on the back of a flatbed truck and throw a big Jenny on there and just start rolling around the city and playing. But it will pull up right in front of we'll drive the truck into the Kingdom Hall during a service and just while the band light the band up as the truck's crashing through the front door. Going to make us pyro. We'll have pyrotechnics. We're going to make a big production out of this. We'll get the dudes that help Rammstein do all their flame effects and shit. We want flamethrowers, shit blowing up. We want them to think that hell is actually come onto Earth and it's like legit apocalypse time.
Even get that guy who plays
metal gig.
Even get that guy with the bagpipes and the flamethrowers out the back. You seen that guy?
Oh yeah, that'd be great. Get that on. I just want to get one of their little carts and like get a whole bunch of copies, or just get one copy of like one of their like watchtowers, whatever they keep on the cart for that given period of time, and do up like an alternate version that's like the Skeptic's Bible annotated, but it's like the watchtower annotated. And whenever they set up their cart, set up one directly beside them. And just have everything look like the same, but it's annotated. And when people like try to talk to me, like, "Oh, don't listen to them. They're fake witnesses."
I think they might force us off their property if we played the fight song, or no, the love song by Marilyn Manson. Because the lyrics are, "I'm not a slave to a God that doesn't exist."
I think introducing them to Glenn Benton's beautiful satanic-inspired lyrics would really scare the living fucking shit out of them. And I forget the gentleman's name that sings for Morbid Angel, but he's really into, like... Actually, I think Glenn Benton's actually really into that shit to the point where he's carved upside-down crucifixes into his own body and shit. Like, he takes the devil-worshipping bit of it pretty seriously, apparently. Or maybe not. Maybe it's just part of the act. I don't know. But the dude has carved crucifixes into his body that were upside down. So, yeah. That would scare the shit out of a Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah, but dolls at yard sales scare the shit out of Jehovah's Witness. Like, it's not hard. The bar is very low.
No, but Glenn Benton's a special kind. Like, his lyrics scared the shit out of me when I first heard them, because I thought AC/DC was the heaviest thing I'd ever hear. And then one day I went, "You need to listen to this." And they went, click. And it was like, oh, that's hell in a cassette tape. But I really liked it and ended up getting right into Morbid Angel and Deicide for a while. Just the, I don't know, something about them. High energy.
Well,
yes, we're talking about what sort of music we'd like to go around to the Kingdom Hall with on Sunday and educate them in metal. It's like they come and knock on my door and waste my fucking time. Well, let's talk about something I like at their place and see how they like it. I'll bring the beers.
Yes. It's just a world tour from Kingdom Hall to Kingdom Hall.
And not try and convert anyone, just educate them about decent types of metal. That's all. That's our mission.
Okay.
We will indoctrinate you into decent musical tastes.
Oh my God, the atheist made my son listen to death metal.
Oh yeah, they definitely have problems with all of it.
Yeah, but that's the point.
I mean, yeah. I mean, depending on the witnesses that you talk to, I mean, some of them will tell you that you shouldn't listen to the Beatles.
Did God create death metal?
No, it was the devil. It came from his world.
Right, it's satanic, don't you know?
But if God created the devil, therefore, by the transitive property, yada,
They
yada,
don't
yada.
believe in transitive properties.
Yeah, they don't believe in logic, remember?
I agree, Time Lord, but you know, they don't buy the transitive property thing.
What if there's no heaven?
Exactly. Part of why we don't.
I missed the live stream that just happened. Can anyone give me a quick rundown?
We had Lloyd Evans and TellTale, and they were talking about Jehovah's Witnesses, indoctrination, and some of the church policies, a little bit of the history, and
Their
sharing
escape
stories about Jehovah's Witnesses.
and their escapes, yeah. It's escape / leaving.
Did they encounter much resistance from the church trying to leave?
Well, I do believe that TellTale would have been disfellowshipped, and Lloyd would have disassociated after a while. I don't think either of them did, but some people definitely do, particularly in the form of being cut off from all family. That's the most common thing. Yeah, the church tends to keep family hostage.
I thought TellTale had said on record multiple times that he was completely cut off from his family, except that he only gets to talk to his mom once in a while.
Yeah. But he was disfellowshipped, right? Whereas Lloyd, I do believe, left. Faded, as they call it.
Hmm.
I could see that as being pretty difficult for some people, but the other part of me thinks, like, what's different about that than, like, going off to college and you don't see your family for months at a time, you know?
No, it's not just your family. Like, if you're raised, particularly, like, if you're born into something, they don't allow you to make friends outside of the church, really. You don't have associations, you don't have connections, right? It's almost a very gang-like mentality in that way. So,
yeah, because you can't even talk to them normally, but you can like call your mom at college anytime you want.
Yeah, with this, they will actually refuse to talk to you at all. It's a complete cutoff. You're essentially dead to them, and that would go to not just your family, but any of your friends that you would have had within the organization, any support structure you might have formed over the course of your life would be cut off. You're essentially like down to zero social life. So it's a little different.
It's based in fear mongering.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to leave is like this huge task for them, because if your whole family is tied up in that and you decide you want to get your family out, your spouse has to be in agreement with you, first of all. That would be the easiest scenario I could think of, because you could take your kids and leave. That would be the easiest one. But if your spouse wants to stay a witness, good luck there.
They'll try to convince the kids to not talk to you. Like the whole bit. Like if there's kids involved, it gets even more messy and complicated for sure.
Right. Like if
you're single, then it's a
right.
little easier.
Right, just you and your spouse, and you want to leave, and you get a divorce, and you don't care what the church thinks about your infidelity, what they would consider your adultery. Yeah, so what? You know, it's like me in the Catholic Church. I don't care if my wife ever gets an annulment for me. I really don't care. She's my ex.
Yeah. It's the other side of it is there's a lot of like guilt trip that goes into that, like through the indoctrination process. I mean, you're essentially taught like it's not you're hurting your family at that point. You're causing them emotional pain and distress. It's you who've left them, and you know now they're not allowed to be with you, and they really want to be, but because of what you're doing, they're not allowed to be because God says so. So you're a terrible person unless you come back.
Right.
So there's like a lot of emotional manipulation and guilt tripping and just layers of it that goes in there.
Yeah, that's just way beyond ideology. That's manipulation for evil purposes, basically, right?
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah. The level of manipulation, like, it's quite. It's hard to understand for a lot of people who haven't seen it. Like, it goes beyond just you're leaving the church, right?
And they actually believe it too. They're just as indoctrinated as the rest of them. It's not like there's any one person who thinks, aha, I'm just going to make these people believe it and be mean to their family. No, they believe it.
Yeah.
So it's that dangerous of an idea. That's the problem with it. Like I was saying at the beginning of the stream, that's the problem with cults. Once it catches on, the person who originally made up the bullshit to begin with usually passes away. Like with Mormonism, Joseph Smith was a con artist. He was put away before he invented Mormonism. The Mormon Church.
And I mean,
he was put away for being a con artist, and then he started a church and came up with these plates. Then apparently lost a set of plates and came up with another set of plates that said something else. Well, guess what? That sounds like something a con artist would do, but apparently it's not good enough that you point that out today. There's enough people that believe it, and there's enough of an infrastructure, and it's just an accepted form of Christianity at this point.
Yeah, it gets a pass. Yeah, no, it's really, like, when you look at the different levels to which, like, you also have the fact that you're not, like, let's say you're a kid, you're in school, you're not allowed to have any extracurricular activities, right? No sports, no band or glee club or whatever the hell you might be interested in. It's a no-go. And a lot of the witnesses actively discourage university or college of any sort, like to the point you could be reprimanded for going. That's apparently changed a little bit in the last few years. But
yes. I'll quickly jump in here. The Jehovah's Witnesses have actually got teachers at university on board now. So there's a video. I've got to look up the name of it, but it's something. If you come at them from the Bible and science, doesn't make any sense, they'll throw this shit straight at you now. Just like, oh no, we've got these. We've got lecturers here from universities with doctorates and all of the degrees from fucking proper schools. Yeah, and they're saying this is the stuff. And look, there's two fucking scientists that they've got on board, and it's about an hour video, and I've shown it to Landon, and Landon, everyone that I've got to watch it lasts about 25 minutes before they want to go and smash their face into a fucking brick wall, because the bullshit that starts to flow from that point onward is just like, what the fuck? They make this really bold claim. It's like, the best place to make scientific discoveries is right here on planet Earth. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, you ever heard of Cassini, you assholes? Or any other probe we've set off? It's like, have you seen the information we've just got back from one of those probes? Oh my God, get the fuck out of my...
The thing is you don't see people who are like Jehovah's Witnesses that are scientists. Or doctors.
You're starting to. That's my point.
Unless they were already that, like they went through university and college and converted after. If they were born or they were like young when they came in before school, they are not going to get any kind of education, right?
Yeah,
and you're not going to see like famous Jehovah's Witness. The only people that I know of, let's see, Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. The black feller from Community, from the show, was a Jehovah's Witness. A lot of the Jacksons were. But they all converted after the fact.
I thought Jehovah's Witness was an offshoot of Mormonism. No?
No.
No, they're not related at all. They're just as crazy in different ways.
That'd be like assuming that Scientology is an offshoot of science, which it's definitely not.
Yeah, one of the things, the
They
most
sound
they really
similar,
have in common
but
is
no.
they knock on doors. Really.
My mistake.
Yeah, doctrinally they're very different.
So back to our little tour of music. We should put a Tesla coil on that band.
So even if they go inside, they can't not hear it.
Right, it'll just be this high frequency Tesla coil belting out like Rammstein and whatnot.
It's beautiful.
Heavy metal Tesla coil. That's awesome.
That probably sounds so messy though, because of how fast some of the music is.
Oh, that's beautiful. It'll be the little tribulation right there for him.
Yeah, but it doesn't usually get across that well on Tesla.
Oh, we could have it play some Tesla. Tesla on Tesla. There you go. Or we could pull it around in a Tesla.
No,
And
if
it
you want
could
it to
be
be loud,
powered.
you need a bigger vehicle.
Yeah, we could get it some Tesla batteries to power the whole thing.
Heck
They make
yeah.
semis now.
Yeah, they do. They make semis.
Maybe we could get sponsored by Tesla. Just need to get Elon Musk on this.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, we can send it to space.
And they'll be 3 months late building it.
Yeah. Well,
You know what? That's fine as long as it happens. Unless, in 3 months all the Jehovah's Witnesses ascend to heaven or whatever.
maybe it'll be the beginning of the end.
It's really a
Maybe-
shame that TellTale's not in here.
I'll give the witnesses one thing. They invented some useful shit when they were first starting, like when they started as the Bible study group or whatever, right? The Bible students. And then later they started like the Watchtower thing as like a publishing company. But they went into doing broadcast things and like film. And I don't remember what it is, which particular thing that they were first to. They were either like the first to do a movie with actual sound, or maybe it was colored film or something. But they pioneered some breakthrough in film technology.
That doesn't sound right. How long ago was this?
Long while back.
When did they start? I thought, didn't they start in like the 80s or something?
No.
Or am I totally off?
They started in the 1800s.
Oh, okay. Then that's much more plausible.
I'll try.
Guess I just got my dates off.
See if I can find it.
But you said 80s. That could have been 1880s, right?
Could be, yeah.
Yeah, in a few years, we're going to have to clarify what we mean when we say the 20s. Are we talking about flappers or whatever the hell generation we're dealing with now?
Oh,
No. Were you talking about World War I or the era of Donald Trump?
Oh.
Please tell me that'll be over by then.
Yeah.
I understand he's got it until 2020, but that doesn't mean it should continue afterward.
I'm trying to figure out which technology it was that they were responsible for. But they did legit develop stuff, because they also developed some stuff regarding printing press technology, because they were making so many tracts and things to hand out.
So much propaganda.
Yeah, we've got so much propaganda to dish out, we need new technologies to do it.
Well, that's how we developed other shit.
It's true.
Though usually it was through the war effort, but that also includes propaganda.
Yeah, anything that I'm searching for regarding them in technology right now is coming up with how they're using it currently. It's not the old stuff.
You know, sometimes I think it would be interesting.
So they had a thing. It was the photo drama of creation, and the production began in 1912. The presentation was introduced to audiences in 1914, and it was the first major screenplay to incorporate synchronized sound, moving and colored slides.
Okay.
Yeah.
Color was already a thing. It's just the sound. It didn't have to be played.
Yeah.
Live.
So, there was probably some other stuff. I believe there was other things that they innovated as well, but that was one of them.
Yeah, I can guarantee colored film already existed before then.
When?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
But the sound one, definitely.
Well, sound came before film.
Yeah, but you didn't have sound being recorded on film.
And
Yeah.
I think the important part was
being played a piano and you read subtitles.
You're talking about the soundtrack itself. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being synced to the movie. I remember in a film class talking about how a long time ago it was very commonplace to have an orchestra pit there. So you'd have not only a piano, but maybe a full orchestra pit doing the sound effects for the movie. And that was like the theater experience, you know?
Or a huge, giant room-sized organ or something,
Yeah. So they did that. That's there's one thing. And I'll give you an idea. At the time, that project cost them $300,000.
That is quite a lot.
That's a $7 million production in today's dollars.
It's quite a lot.
Yeah. It also had one of the longest running times. It was an 8-hour film.
Jesus, that's like the same length as some of the Indian and Chinese theater, like live theater, or no, it's Indian or Japanese. One of them goes on all night long.
Oh, wow. Yeah, this was 8 hours presented in 4 parts and was supposed to go from the time of creation to the end of the millennium.
Huh. They colored all of that shit?
Yep.
That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
So dude behind that must have been the George Lucas of his era then.
In a way, yeah. They also did a lot with radio broadcast. They had their own radio show. And that's how they grew, right? They had this quote unquote like advanced technology compared to the other religions at the time. They had radio, they had broadcasts, they had synchronized sound. They of course attributed all the advancement that they were making during that time period to being
God.
inspired and all that. So it sucked people in, right?
Yep. I know plenty of Christians that will tell you every invention ever made by a Christian was because of God.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, they love to do that. They love to hold up progress, and then when progress does happen, they find a way to make Christianity to take credit for it. You know, they turn it around so it's Christianity's good deed that made progress.
Speaking of 1920s, though, or did you say 12?
It was just before 1914. It would have aired in 1914, which is when they thought Jesus invisibly come back. He came back in synchronicity with their film production.
Oh, this sounds
sometimes
very
I wonder,
familiar. Very familiar, actually.
Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to actually live back then. You know? Not like I wouldn't want to be there forever, but to at least visit, just to see what it was actually like, what people
They're
thought.
also pretty heavily connected to Freemasonry, although they don't acknowledge it today. But like their founding person is like buried under a pyramid with the eye and the Mason symbol and the whole bit. They entirely deny any connection to Freemasonry, though.
Whatever.
Because they don't want to be associated with a cult.
You know what?
Yeah,
you know
but what's hilarious is
the Jehovah's Witnesses don't want to be associated with a cult.
I'm gonna put something in the chat, in the stream chat. Look at this image. This is an aerial shot, like today, of one of their grounds.
Wow. Seriously?
This is one of their legit grounds with an amphitheater. Not.
That's pretty cool, man.
It actually is cool looking, but wow. Seriously.
That's pretty hard to deny.
It is. I'm going to put this in the outside chat.
Yeah,
this
is where it's in Sweden, I think, or somewhere. And yeah, like
that has to be
an accident. You know,
that is not.
There's no way they did that on accident.
No, that is not an accident.
It's absolutely impossible, given what we know about them.
Right?
Not an accident.
Are you being critical because they bought a triangle-shaped piece of land?
Did they then put an eye-shaped amphitheater at the very apex of? No, I'm not being critical at all.
Are you trying to tell me that they actually bought a triangle-shaped piece of land? Because it looks like the forest around it is put into a box shape, and then they just put the triangle in there.
Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like to me, too.
Yeah, I think that they put those trees in intentionally.
Like unlike most places, you could at least hear it from the parking lot.
Google Earth, right? So, I find it hilarious that exists.
You said this was in Sweden, right?
I think so. I'm actually going to look that up. It's somewhere over there, though.
You want evidence of the devil? It's right there.
Right.
On their own ground. We're all being mind controlled, man.
Unfortunately, I have to give Max Colby his choir member.
Right, because everyone lost theirs.
And Spurs chemo.
When Spurs came in, his first question was, "Will I be protected here?"
Yeah, you'll be protected as long as you're not a dick to everybody. Then you'll be fucking kicked the fuck out.
I don't know that I know this person yet.
Spurs chemo, he's a flat earther of the worst derp Seriously, that's the best way to describe Spurs. He's like Debbie-esque, okay?
But he's got a bit of a somewhat British accent, so he doesn't initially sound as stupid.
Right. Kind of like Nathan Oakley sounds a little bit not as stupid, but then he just comes across as arrogant. And then he really sounds stupid and arrogant. It's like, you're so arrogant you won't listen and you're stupid. And then Anthony Riley's just the same way. It's just like, oh, you're kidding me.
I thought G-Man seemed pretty darn calm yesterday, didn't you?
I haven't watched it yet.
I don't want to. I really don't. I'm so tired of that guy. I just wish he'd come out of his...
He acknowledged some of the most ridiculous things in that stream that I didn't think that he would double down on, but boy, did he.
Hey,
buddy.
If he's being consistent, I'll at least give him that. I don't know if he was, but
don't know why
if he was, at least that much is respectable.
Don't know why we're talking
it's
about
Denmark. I'm sorry, not Sweden.
Because some of the people I talk with in like the morality channel, they cannot be consistent. And it's really, really frustrating.
You got to be kidding me, dog. My dog is now whining. What do you kid? I just took you out, dude. Lay down. Lay down.
But I want pets.
Too bad.
And everything else in the world.
Oh, Gearbox. Catalina rolls. Choir member. There you go. You can unmute yourself.
Thank you.
Catalina Gearbox.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
You have any Jehovah's Witnesses stories, do you?
No, well, my sister's a Jehovah's Witness. She turned into a right cunt.
Okay. Never been involved in it yourself, though.
I went to a couple of their church sermons, but I quit when they were when I saw that they were teaching their own children to convert other children in school.
Oh yeah,
Fantastic.
That they do that. They tell the kids to use the opportunity of going to school to talk to other kids and tell them how their parents are wrong and that they're going to end up dying if they don't convince their parents.
Now, to be fair, some of that is stuff that kids say naturally.
Well, when you fill a kid's head up with only one fucking thing, they might as well just pull them out of fucking school.
It happens.
Yeah. How did your sister get caught up with that?
It's when you hit the early teens that they'll start saying you're not really allowed to have friends outside of the church. But for like younger kids, they're like 7, 8 years old and whatnot. They let them make friends, and then when they start getting older, they say, well, if you want to see your friend not get killed, then you should convince them to come to the church. Otherwise, they're going to be killed and you can't be around them anymore.
See, that's why I would never fit in with the Jehovah's Witnesses. I would have told them to go fuck themselves at age 18 and fucked off.
Yeah, because that mentality is not healthy.
Well, not remotely. Not remotely healthy. Highly manipulative. And, like, emotionally damaging.
Yeah, it's like finding out that Santa doesn't exist.
No, they don't believe in Santa. They don't do Christmas. They don't do birthdays. They don't do any holidays.
Well, yeah, but
that was
it's the equivalent.
Thing. That was another thing, too. Like, when I was working at Disney, get this, I worked at Walt Disney World. And our area was the only area that wasn't allowed to have any kind of Christmas celebration because we had one Jehovah's Witness in our area, and he was the shop steward.
No, that's the worst kind of equality.
Right. So
Let's bring us all down to each other's level.
Right. So we have a Jehovah's Witness as a shop steward for our union, and nobody can celebrate shit. So
I do it anyway just to piss him off.
Well,
they kick up a stink.
we had a very merry Christmas party for everybody that could buy tickets to it, but you couldn't have a Christmas tree in the break room. You couldn't have a Christmas party. No. What the company at large could do it, just not us.
It's freedom of speech, and this is fucking America. Fuck the cunts. If they want to bitch, let them. I just ignore them. Or show them my imaginary fucks wallet that's empty.
Well, I mean, the other thing that they're doing now that didn't exist when I was younger, like they had some books and whatnot for that were kind of like designed for kids and whatnot, but they now have an entire production team that does CG cartoon sort of things for kids, like Pixar stuff.
Yep, seen a few of them.
Saw the one about homosexuality.
They're retarded.
Saw the one about homosexuality, and there's been a couple of YouTubers that have responded to that one, saying how horrifying that is to teach your kids that people are literally going to go to hell for that.
Well, they don't believe in hell. They just believe you'll die and you won't come back. You won't get to paradise. You'll be slaughtered. There's no afterlife.
Right. Or whatever
so
it is they believe.
Don't have a hell thing. That's
I was quite stunned that they didn't believe in hell, though.
No, they just believe if you don't get saved, you end up in a grave, basically. That's it.
They basically believe what atheists believe. After you die, you're nothing.
Yeah.
I don't even see the fucking point of their religion.
Because Jesus.
I was just reading on Wiki a little bit more about it and saying something about they believe everything was created by Jesus, but what about, all of history before that?
They don't, though. That's the other thing that almost makes me not consider them Christian, is they really don't believe Jesus is God. They believe Jesus is God's son, and that God's the ultimate authority, and Jesus is sort of a lesser angel. He's like the vice president of heaven,
They're not Christians. They're a cult. There's a difference.
Do they support
but
the
you
Old
can
Testament?
have Christian cults.
Sorry, what's that?
Do they support the Old Testament?
Yes. And the New. They believe that Jesus was sent as God's son to earth, right? But he wasn't God. Like, they don't believe in the Trinity in any kind of way.
They have their own version of the Bible.
It's pretty much the same. It's been modified a little bit, but it's more or less the same. They definitely made a few alterations, and they replace anywhere that says God with Jehovah. But like
The thing
Jehovah
that confuses me is that there's 8 old assholes sitting in a tower calling themselves prophets. Who the fuck
they
would
call
believe
themselves
that?
the faithful and discreet slave.
Who the fuck wants to be a slave? Like, really?
Oh, it's okay to be a slave if you're a slave of God.
That just doesn't make sense to me. Especially in light of G-Man's little rant, like, oh, I'll be a slave to you as long as you pay me.
Here you go. There's the term.
I don't think he understands what slavery is.
No, he doesn't.
And he's a black man.
Which is, that's the most retarded thing I've ever heard of. But anyway. No, actually, I heard something more retarded today. I saw something on Twitter, and Steve McRae replied to it and said, and I had to reply to it too. because this person literally said evolution had nothing to do with biology.
And they've not heard of evolutionary biology.
Well, I don't know how you could consider evolution in any way, shape, or form at all, like, and not say it has anything to do with biology. Like,
It's called compartmentalization.
how could it not have anything to do with biology? It's life. It's about life. Life and biology is the study of life. So, don't understand how. So I literally put in all caps, "This is the dumbest thing I have ever heard." Yes, it is.
Basically, apologists will make any lie to make themselves believe whatever they need to.
Because God couldn't make a pinephant.
Well, guess what? Tree sperm doesn't impregnate elephants' trunks, so they just sneeze. They just fucking sneeze, okay?
You know what amazes me about conservatives, though, is they don't want abortion. They don't want contraceptions. They don't want federal aid.
Who doesn't?
Conservatives.
Conservatives.
They don't want prenatal care. They don't even want maternity leave. So what do they want for the woman to pop it out and let it crawl in the dirt and die? Like, are they fucking retards?
They just want that baby to pull itself up by its bootstraps, by its baby booty straps.
Yep, that'll happen.
Can I go off topic for a quick second?
Yeah, welcome to it's the Non Sequitur Show.
Yeah.
Is the Steve and Landon debate tonight?
No, the Non Sequitur Show has aired for the day. So that would not be tonight.
Oh, they already did it tonight?
Yeah. That's what this is. This is the after show.
Is Steve debating Landon, though? Is this a thing?
Well, not debating. They were going to have a chat about nuclear reactors and theory and stuff. I'm not sure if it was going to be on this channel or not.
You mean the Great Debate Community channel or Steve McRae's? If Steve's going to do something that's not Non Sequitur Show, he'd probably do it on his channel. He usually doesn't use the side channel for that. Let me see if he's got something. If he's on his channel, I'll quit. I'll send everybody over there. Because I do not want to use his other channel to step on his toes.
Well, they mentioned something about it being on Sunday, and maybe I'm mistaken and it's actually next week or something, but I definitely didn't want to miss it.
We had Rags yesterday. Incels was 5 days. Okay, so this is all past stuff. Incels, what a bunch of worthless people. Like, I don't understand why you'd want to act like an idiot. Like, just a complete jerk ass.
What are those people about?
I didn't even know about them until this week and seeing the Shannon Q thing. It's crazy, Catalina, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pretend I'm socially inept and know nothing about the world around me.
So they're involuntarily celibate.
There's nothing involuntary about it, though. They just act like complete shits to women, and then they wonder why they don't get any pussy. So, I mean, it's kind of...
Oh, you're talking about MGTOW? Or...
Oh, they take No. when I say they act like complete jackasses to women, they literally say shit like they want to rape women, they want to do bodily harm to women. It's bad. It's really bad. It makes MGTOW look like pussy whipped. That's how bad it is. Yeah.
Damn. Just like...
Yeah, they're terrible people.
Yeah, they are. There's no other way to say it. They're just awful people.
This is why I believe humanity is not a good species.
Well, I was thinking about something along those lines earlier today. I was like, you know what? We're bad for the environment, but we're also the only species that seems to have figured out we impact the entire planet.
And yet we still fuck it up and deny reality more than any other species on the planet.
Well, but we have the self-awareness, so there's a possibility it could swing the other way at some point. So we're at that threshold.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll actually cross that threshold at some point in the distant times to come.
When we finally outlaw religion, maybe.
I don't think I'd want to see religion outlawed.
I'd rather
I'm
see it
talking
just.
about organized.
I'd rather see it taxed out of existence.
I'd rather see it just fade away. Personally, I'd rather people come to the realization over time that it's a useless construct.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about organized religion.
Any kind.
Humanity cannot act responsible with order.
I don't think. I think if you look at the witnesses that we're talking about, right? They're doctrinally, they teach that all the governments are going to turn against them, and that's when the end is. Like, doing that will essentially get a lot of groups to just double down harder, right?
Yep.
And it'll make them think that their prophecies are being fulfilled, right?
Right. It's prophetic.
But then that'll peter out in a couple of months, and they never
No,
forget.
it'll take hundreds of years. It'll take hundreds of years. There'll be martyrs. There'll be all kinds of shit. That's not the way to do it. You have to let it peter out on its own.
No less than probably 3 generations.
You have to let it peter out on its own. You have to let people see, oh, people having the right to marriage, gay people having the right to marry. That's not the death of society.
Well, keep in mind, I only want organized religion banned. I don't mean personal religion.
It
doesn't matter.
You can talk about whatever you want.
It doesn't matter because people can personally choose an organized religion, and people are going to organize by their nature. So, I mean, it wouldn't work. Right. I think what you can do, though, is you can remove the privileges that organized religions have, right?
Right.
These are things like the tax exemptions and special statuses and governmental sways and things like this.
You know what I want to do the most, though, is take away the tax exemption for the Amish.
There you go.
Fuck those people.
Well, tax exemptions.
Actually, I'm less worried about the Amish and them having to pay more taxes because they actually probably cause very little like environmental strain of any sort and whatnot. They're not doing a lot, right?
Well,
They're just sort of.
And they contribute.
That's not true.
They contribute
and
too.
They contribute, right?
That's not true. They do not care about the land.
I would be more concerned with mega churches and people who are buying jets to fly around and mansions and like the Catholic Church and these are the ones that should be taxed. The Amish, I mean, it's not like
the Amish are the closest thing to are the closest thing to pure communism that we have, and they're right here in America.
But communists.
No, they're not. No, they're not.
But even that said, just to go a little bit off topic here, communism's a political party, and we don't ban political parties in the United States. No matter how outlandish the doctrine is of that political party, we don't ban that. Unfortunately.
Well, we don't make it a religion either.
No, we don't, and you're right. But as a consequence of banning, of saying, hey, you got to fucking pay taxes to the Catholic Church, that would happen to the Amish too.
Yeah, and you have to like allow fringe political movements to some extent to exist, because if you go about it,
they're not a fringe political movement. They don't even vote.
Start banning things, right? Then
they don't even vote, man. They don't in the government.
That means that they will never be in power, and that's fine. That's the whole point.
That has
right?
nothing to do with their religious affiliation, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you let a political idea stand on its own merits, and if it passes, it passes. But if it's a dumb idea, it's not likely to really gain any traction. But the reason you don't want to ban things is because, let's say a new idea comes along and it's better than any of the current ideas we have. Let's say somebody
I know a lot of people that hate them in my state.
Better
they hate
than
driving behind them. They hate running over their horse shit. Literally, they hate. They kind of smell. And a lot of them are just fucking rude.
Well, what would you expect from somebody who's growing up in an entirely sheltered environment? They're not going to have the same social skills, obviously.
And the only way that's going to die, literally, the only way that's ever going to go away is if and again, this is only a possibility, is if the rest of the world says, we're going to leave you alone, you're going to be in isolation, we're going to charge you money to stay in isolation because we're giving you access to the outside world, you want to pay to access us, otherwise you get to stay within your little borders and not charge and not deal with us.
But you know how the Amish will actually end? Mental retardation. They have a big problem with it. There's not a big enough gene pool for them.
Well, that's a real possibility. It's a sad truth of having a limited gene pool. It's an evolutionary dead end, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'd like to see is, like, again, I don't think that you can just ban organized religion, but you can start enforcing certain things. Like, if a parent is letting their kids dance around with rattlesnakes and thinks it's a good idea, take the kids the fuck away. Or if they're, like, conducting exorcisms on children, or blocking people from health care, or not allowing blood transfusions, take the kids the fuck away. It should be flat out considered abuse.
Right.
And
or banning them from a certain level of education. Again,
yeah.
Education's my key thing. Like, okay, in order to vote, you should at least have a certain level of education. That's why you have to be 18. That's one of the reasons you have to be 18 to vote in this country, is because by the time you're 18, it's assumed you have a certain amount of skills acquired through education.
The Amish only go to 8th grade.
Right. Well, again, if that, and I'm not even talking about the Amish, I'm talking about these people who don't even teach that. Like, they just, like Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't.
And the type of education they give them.
But the Amish don't vote. The Jehovah's Witnesses do.
Well, it's very limited.
Don't vote
the type of education they give them. If you ask them, Jehovah's Witness, who Martin Luther King was, they wouldn't know.
Well, again, like I said,
Jehovah's Witnesses would know who Martin Luther King was, but they aren't allowed to vote. It's actually against church policy. You're not supposed to be involved in the politics of the world.
Well, again, like I said, there's a disconnect there. But we're talking about cults. I'm talking about these people who are going and saying, "Hey, the Earth, like young Earth creationism."
Yeah.
To me, that's like one of the most dangerous things that's out there. Because it's such a backwards idea, and people are getting, like, they're saying, well, evolution is just a quote-unquote theory. Well, so's gravity, and so's all these other germ theory. But next time you get sick, are you going to go to the doctor and get antibiotics if you have a sinus infection? Heck yeah, you're going to go get antibiotics if you have a sinus infection. Otherwise, it's going to kill you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and actually, and you know, about those people who won't send their kids to the fucking doctor because they believe in prayer. Like, those people should be tied down and just horsewhipped right in the ass, like, several times.
Well, I don't. Just, it's not a question of what should happen to them. It's what should happen to the kids to prevent them from harm.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
care
They
what
killed
happens.
2 of their kids. They killed
Well,
2
the
of their
ones that
kids.
the ones that killed 2 of their kids should not be allowed to have any more children. Number 1, and 2, it should be kept away from society at large. So they don't have contact with any other children either. That's the way I look at it. I don't care what they do. I just
when they're
care
adults,
about
if they're
them.
gonna hold on to their crazy, stupid fucking ideas. Have at it. But passing it on, I think that's the thing. Is there needs to be more effort to make sure that people aren't passing the bullshit on to future generations, right?
Right.
And that indoctrination is not allowed to continue. You can let people privately practice, but if you start cutting people off from the ability to indoctrinate as part of their religion, then you'll see religion die real quick.
Right. But if you tell them they can't practice, that's where you're going to get the backlash. The backlash.
I'm not even telling them they can't practice their ceremony. I'm saying that organized religion cannot be done. Like, no, you can hold like a wedding ceremony, and
but you can't. That's part of organized religion right there. Like if you
okay, let's take religion out of it for a second. That goes back to, at least here in America, we have not only the freedom of speech, but the freedom of assembly. We have the right to assemble as a group for any random purpose, however dumb it is, as long as you play by the rules.
Right. It's not a question of whether we can have organizations and organized religion. It's Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. So you can't take that freedom away without having a constitutional amendment. So that's a huge deal in the first place that you're talking about right there. And then, taxing them would be easier.
But you can change laws regarding what is considered abusive and what is considered not. And that's how you backdoor that.
there already is, and the IRS will not do anything about it whatsoever.
Well, I think what you were saying earlier about going after the mega churches versus the Amish, let's say, kind of goes to the point of the DEA strategy of let's go after the big money man first, and then hopefully that we'll knock down the little ones in the process, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's happened several times, and look where TBN is today. They're a multi-billion-dollar corporation.
Well, like you said, we need to tax the crap out of them. We need to expose their money-making scheme, like these idiots, like Jim Baker. And okay, he went away for fraud, right? Tax fraud.
Yep.
He came back, and he's doing it again. He's selling these food buckets, for crying out loud. Food buckets for an apocalypse that's not showing up.
Don't tell me about it. My dad just bought $4,000 worth of that crap.
Well, yeah, okay, well, somebody needs to go to that guy and say, you can't sell food under the pretense, even the misguided pretense with a disclaimer that this is for an apocalypse that's going to happen.
Well, that's not how it works. He's not selling the food. He's just advertising it. And he's getting donations from that company to advertise that food.
Of course. But that's bullshit. That shouldn't be allowed. That's a loophole that needs to go away. That's the kind of shit we're talking about here right now.
Yeah, I mean this plagues a lot of these groups, right? And it should definitely go away. It's very problematic, and it has a huge impact on things in a way that I don't think people realize, because they say, oh well, religions do a lot of good, right? And while they do charity work, and that is true.
The minor pittance of a bake sale they hold every.
I mean, the reality is if you were to tax all of the religion's income for a year in the U.S. alone, everybody would go to college and university for free. No problem. That would pay for it. Done deal.
free healthcare.
Yeah, no, that would be really easy to do with that as well. And people go, where's the money at to pay for this? I'll tell you where it's at. It's in all the organizations. And it doesn't mean that they can't still do charity. They're just not going to be tax exempt. If they're doing a charitable activity, they can apply for a charity status for those activities like everybody else.
And open their books up so we can see where our money's fucking going when we give it to them.
Yeah, I definitely, if we are not going to tax them, we should at least make it mandatory that they have their books open to the public.
Flash Gordon, who helps the homeless? The people who give the money to help the homeless help the homeless. The church being the in-between agent, taking the cut, doesn't help. It hinders. And don't make me ban you like I did from the Non Sequitur Show channel.
You have the freedom to practice religion, so we're racist? What? Since when is religion a race?
Oh, this is the troll I knocked out of the Non Sequitur Show channel.
Okay.
Because he was literally in the YouTube chat 2 hours after we stopped the show.
What channel are you talking about?
Trolling with another troll over the same stupid... He was literally in there with a Jewish person. A Jewish troll and a Christian troll arguing over which religion was right. In the Non Sequitur Show's YouTube chat over a couple... What was it, 2 nights ago?
Yeah, I think so. That was when it just kept going.
Yeah, it went on for 2 hours, and finally I'm waiting for you guys to hang yourselves, and you both did.
Well,
oh wait, is this on the air right now?
Sniffing. Well, that's what that was.
Yeah, we're on the air right now. We're streaming live.
Oh, Lowell.
Oh, but what? I wasn't banning religion. I was banning your stupid ass because you, sir. No one said ban religion. Someone said ban organized religion. And we were trying to actually say that's not a good idea, Flash Gordon.
Yeah.
And you were not talking about philosophy. You were talking about who had the better hate crime record, Christianity or Judaism. There was nothing philosophical about your discussion in that chat. Right, and that's why you got banned. You said I need to grow a brain cell. You tell a moderator or a channel owner to grow a brain cell, they'll probably ban you, dude.
Yeah, pretty quickly.
No, I've outsmarted you, Flash Gordon. I don't need to sit there and take your bullshit. Do you want to come in here on Discord and actually talk to me, or are you going to sit out there in the chat and be the little bitch you are? Come on, buddy. The invite's in the fucking description. Oh.
Yeah, jump on in.
Let me get you another invite. Let me put it right in the fucking thing.
If you haven't banned him from this Discord already.
I don't think I have. No one's been banned from this Discord as far as I know. No limit, never. Generate new link. Copy. Here's the link to join the Discord. Come on in and chat, bud. You think you got a case for your religion?
Come make it.
It's got nothing to do with me taking a joke. It's got to do with how stupid you are thinking you're talking philosophy when you're sitting there talking about a 2,000-year-old claim that ain't got shit to do with reality. And no, it wasn't about Cosmos and the Big Bang. You were talking about anti-Semitic shit. Don't tell me what I read. And he was talking about Goyim, which is just as bad because we're all Goyim.
It's basically every Christian. You're oppressing me because I can't oppress you.
Right. So, and the other guy was crying oppression because we're all Goyim because he's Jewish. So, Jew and the Christian get in the room and start talking about how they're being oppressed from the other one.
Try being a bisexual atheist, assholes.
You're a little bit too sarcastic. You just keep
Me?
on. No, I'm talking to him.
Oh, right. I don't have the link for the show.
Let me bring it in here so everybody can go out there and see what the dipshit is saying. He was talking. Oh, you mean Hebrew, the language that you don't seem to understand, even though you're Christian? He was talking in Hebrew, dude. Yeah. If you don't understand Hebrew, then maybe you should go to Google Translate and look up Hebrew. That's why Google Translate's there. So
Hey, do you have a link for the show?
Oh, that's the Discord server. Sorry. I thought that was this. No, you're a troll, Flash Gordon. Because if you weren't a troll... No, he wasn't being rude. I translated his Hebrew. It wasn't rude. You're the one who can't take a joke, Flash Gordon. Well, if you don't have a mic, then maybe you shouldn't hang around in chats that close for 2 hours after a show ends. I don't need to ask you about religion. I spent 40 years studying religion, dude. Not just Christianity either.
What religions did you study?
Let's see. Christianity, Mormonism, Quran, Bhagavad Gita. I can never say that right. Bhagavad Gita, which is Hinduism.
Yeah, I've studied all of it.
And the fact that you are talking about beating him down because you are a Christian, that's kind of the problem I have with you. Christians don't beat people down.
Gotta respect those Christian fifis.
That's not what Christians are supposed to be doing, according to your own book.
It really depends on what part of the book you're paying attention.
Well, it also depends on how you interpret the whole fucking thing. Because technically, according to your book, you should all be behaving like Westboro Baptists. So, depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, I would say that's the only Christian sect that actually preaches the truth about Christianity.
Pretty much, yeah. They're pretty close.
Okay, help me out. I don't know all the little distinctions. I'm sorry. I wasn't raised in any kind of religious household whatsoever. What's makes the Westboro Baptist distinct?
They actually preach the things in their Bible. Like, not just the good parts.
So, when I asked you how old you were, Flash Gordon, you told me you wouldn't tell me. You called me son, even though arguably I'm older than you. Let's see, what else did you do? You said your degree was 33 years. Or 60, you've been studying for 33 years, which is bull crap. Strong's Concordance. Oh, Strong's Concordance, right. You remember our conversations. Gotcha. Okay, Strong's Concordance.
You know, if I ever saw like members of the Westboro Baptist Church just protesting, I would go up to them and I would shake their hand and I would say, "Thank you. you're responsible for more atheists than any place else in the world.
You know what's hilarious? He just said he lost the discussion, as though it's possible to lose a discussion. How do you lose a discussion?
Yeah, this is also the same guy who threatened to give our chat between me and the Satanist and himself to the Guardian. Like, as if the chat was evidence of some thing. I don't know. Yeah, you're Flash. You remember everything.
Is there 21 people here watching now, and this one guy is still here? It's funny.
It is funny. It's hilarious.
Well, let's ask everybody else who's watching and in the chat. Flashboard.
Let's see what you've been a member since
2012. There, somebody's marked an opinion.
There's 22 people watching. Any reason why I should let him keep talking? Or should I just end the stream now and... Oh, I know you have a twisted and warped mentality. That's what makes you a troll. That's why I called you a troll.
I think Kent Hovind has lost. Not to end Raw, just in general. He's just lost. Just like...
Oh man, I was watching the King Crocoduck ones the other day, and those were awesome. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. Those are funny.
Well, what makes you cry? Me asking you questions? Like how old you actually are?
I'll take an honest answer to that question because my screen name is Time Lord, and I love watching Doctor Who, and I will freely admit that every once in a while, a Doctor Who episode just really tugs at your heartstrings the right way and brings a tear to my eye.
No, I'll agree I'm in public, Flash, but I don't have to put up with bullshit.
Oh, yeah. I haven't watched Doctor Who in a couple of years. How's that show doing?
I haven't watched the last season because I didn't really like Peter Capaldi, but supposedly they got a female doctor coming out for the next season, so really excited about that.
Yeah, that sounds like really interesting. I just hope it's not another feminist propaganda fucking bullshit.
What did you save me from, Flash Gordon?
Flash Gordon, that's not even how people come to believe in God. Like you don't even understand how people believe. It's also goes the same with apologists. People don't believe in God because of these horse shit arguments. They come to them for personal reasons, personal feelings. I mean,
yeah.
Their arguments convince no one and probably drive further people away from religion.
Ah, and there we go. Now we are talking about reasons to put you out of this fucking channel too. Bye-bye. Talking about burning the Pope and pouring oil on the file. Guess what? That's end of story for you, Flash.
Why not just pour gasoline and let it all burn?
when you talk about burning the Pope, that's the kind of shit that Steve told me to not allow. Right? That's considered. That's the kind of shit that got you banned from Non Sequitur Show, and that gets you banned from Great Debate Community too. Them's in the rules. Some people just don't get it. All right, moving on. We had our little troll fun tonight. Speaking of which, that's a good thing to end the show on. So
Here it is.
yeah,
Sometimes if you give somebody enough rope, they'll hang themselves with it.
we've been streaming for 2 hours, so I'm gonna mute myself and I'm gonna say bye bye to the stream, and I'll probably say goodbye for the evening too, because Dragnut Silvis just went live and he's gonna cross the line with G-Tard. So if anybody wants to watch Dragnut talk to G-Man, I think that's what's actually gonna happen. I'm not sure, but we will talk to you all later.
Have a good
All
one.
right. Have a good one, man.
And thank you all for coming to watch the Great Debate Community after show with Jehovah's Witnesses, talking about their cult and TellTale Atheists, or excuse me, their cult with TellTale Atheists and Lloyd Evans on the Non Sequitur Show. If you're interested in any G-drama, G-Man drama, go check out Dragnut Silvis. He's live right now. Also, be aware that Non Sequitur Show is almost a nightly phenomenon now, so keep up with that on the Non Sequitur Show Discord server. Let me get you an invite to the server one more time. I see it didn't actually end up into the description. I'll put this in the description as well for the when the show actually goes up on the channel. You'll have to go look up Dragnut Silvis. Let me look him up for you. YouTube.com. Silvis. Wait, he's actually done, so never mind. So yeah, you can come into this, find something else to do. So it's Discord, yes. There you go, and we will see you all later.